Anyone notice anything odd about my lapel? Yes, yes. I thought I might dwell on this for a moment because not all of you have been around as long as I have. This was the earlier badge. What's significant about it is it carried the inscription about your vocation or profession or occupation. Mine says copyright something or other. It used to say for most of my career here, education, libraries. Now, I'll explain why that's irrelevant. Whoops. I'm going to ask a few questions and I'll roll through. I want to make it clear I'm not going to fine anyone because the practice seems to be you put money in the plate and then just hope. So regard that as a premium for insurance against being fined. So there's no sort of test here. Here's the first question. What was the colloquial term for this when it was current? Dinner plate. Soup plate. Right, there we are. Anyway, let's get on with it. Education libraries. What I'm going to talk about is that. That's the Central Library building, which closed at the usual time on the evening of March the 20th and didn't open again, and is not open. Victim of what I call the Department of Statistics building syndrome. Any building that in its structure resembles that is suspect, and that's its present status. Anyway, a couple of warm-up questions. What's the oldest and earliest Rotary Club in New Zealand? Wellington. And when will it celebrate its centenary? See, they've got the message. All right. Now, what's the oldest, earliest public library in New Zealand? Oh, surely. Public library. Right, let's not waste time. Wellington. And when did it celebrate its centenary? 1940. There's another question, of age-related question. Is there anyone here who can claim to have heard the BBC programme Brains Trust live? Oh, you don't incriminate yourselves. It was a very popular show in the 40s and 50s where some eggheads got together and answered difficult questions. Now, one of them was Professor C.E.M. Joad, who famously used to open his contribution with, well, it depends what you mean by which brings me to the public library. What I mean by public library is one intended for the general public as opposed to academic or research or whatever. But I think most people, when the expression is used, would think of a municipal public library. So there's the question. What's the second earliest municipal public library in New Zealand? I've given you the answers. Wellington, indeed. Auckland was in the game first, 1880. Wellington, 1893. Well, before I leave that, what's the oldest, earliest branch library in New Zealand?
Wellington.
Now, some of you, again, this is age-related, may recognise that building. Do you, Denise? No. Are you waving your hand? Yes. That's the Newtown branch, which existed until quite recently and it was occupied by some health services. So there we are. Well, I better move on. I've explained the present problem with the Central Library building. Its predecessor, which is now the City Art Gallery, was a reinforced concrete box with reinforced concrete boxes inside it. And when there was an earthquake, it would go bump like that. We were told this was going to be safer because it would sway with the breeze. So reinforced concrete and then a framed building. what do you think were the building materials of the first public library in 1840? Timber. Not quite. Raupo. That's the present building. There it is, resplendent. At the corner of Lambton Quay and Charlotte Street. Does anyone know anything about Charlotte Street? And there's a plaque there by the cenotaph, if you care to walk past someday. And there's the advertisement in what was then the Dominion Post, advertising the formation of the library service. Shall I leave it at that? All right. Thank you very much.